To stitch a hem, you're going to insert your needle between your layers of fabric that you folded or rolled so that the knot is hidden from both the right and wrong sides of the fabric. Then you're going to pick up a very small amount of the front of the fabric, so the outside of your garment, and then push your needle through the fold that you created when you rolled your hem. Remove your pins as needed and try not to poke yourself. And again, you're going to pick up a very small amount of the main body of the garment and then continue on through the fold of the hem and pull that taut. And again, that's pretty much the gist of the hem stitch, or whip stitch as it's sometimes called. And sometimes you have your thread too long and you create more problems for yourself than you solve. But moving on from that, the point of a hem stitch is to create as little visual distraction as possible on the exterior of the garment and to not catch on anything on the interior of your garment, such as fingers or toes if you're putting your sleeve or your pants on. So again, you just kind of catch a very small amount of the main body of the garment and then continue through the fold of the hem. Sometimes it takes a few tries to get a small enough stitch on the front of the garment, but it's necessary to take as few threads as possible of that main body of the garment so that your stitches don't show. Obviously, when you're stitching blue thread on white fabric, it's going to show no matter what. Typically for this, you would choose a thread that was as close in color to your material as you could manage. But as you can see, the stitches on the front of the garment are very small, and then on the back is where you see most of the thread. So again, catch a few threads of that front and continue through that fold. This may be a time when you might want to utilize a thimble if your fabric is particularly thick, like denim, because you're pushing your needle through 3 or 4 layers of fabric and it can be difficult. This is a pretty straightforward stitch. Again, it's just a few threads of fabric. Continue on through the rolled hem and move forward. The stitches on this do not have to be as small as a traditional running stitch would be, but you don't want them so large that your fabric either doesn't lay flat or that you could catch a finger or a toe or jewelry, etc. in the stitches on the interior. And then once you're finished, you knot it off again the same as any other stitching. And for this, if you want to hide the tail of your thread rather than have it poking out, you'll see in a moment that I insert my needle into kind of the channel that's been created by that rolled hem. So it's not showing on the front of the material and it's not showing on the back, and pull it through a little bit to kind of secure that tail and then trim it close so that it essentially disappears.